This week on RSBANDB Update, RuneScape turns 25 with a trip down memory lane and the return of inverted skill capes. With shiny capes and 25 years of stories, we turn the page to 2026 with the ranged combat beta. We lean into ranged new identity with vibes-based beta testing. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 1071, recorded Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. 25 years of RuneScape. Hello everybody and welcome back to 2026's first episode of RSBANDB Update, the 25th anniversary of RuneScape this week. Bears, you're here, welcome back.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Of course, in addition to the 25th anniversary of RS, that means it's Combat Beta Week. We had a chance to have a second look at it over the Christmas break, so that's why you're here, in addition to Thaxi, who was on for that weird hybrid of an episode of Combat Beta and Dragon Wilds right before Christmas. Welcome back, Thaxi.
Happy New Year!
He is living in the Dark Ages because his power is out presently, so that's why it might sound a bit different than normal and look a bit different than
I am sitting in a fully dark room with my phone screen off, trying to preserve power to see how long we can get into this recording.
Indeed.
If I drop out randomly, 07s, friends.
Well, let's get going then. Big, huge thank you to our experienced tier Patreon members for the first time here in 2026. You guys mean the world to us. You let us do this show. You let us do so many fun things alongside of it. So this week, that's Amos Reed, Bladecom, Dominic R, Jade Gizmo, Jason S, Jesse W, Julia W, Kesky, Lemon Lounge, Luminos, Ricky A, Psy Oasis, Snail Mage, The Naked Captain, and Tim. Big, huge thank you to those guys. You'll hear more about our Patreon offerings a bit later in the podcast. But of course, if you want to follow along, full episodes and transcripts can be found over at update.show. We also have a community Discord over at update.show/Discord, and the friends chat can be found in game at BitsBytes. RuneScape turns 25. 25 years of this little game that changed so many lives. It was in the BBC this week in terms of a news article talking about these 25th anniversary celebrations and just the huge impact it's had. And I figured we'd start off here by talking about some of our early memories of RS. Like, what is our first memory? Let's start with you, Thaxi. What's your first RS memory?
Oh gosh, I started, I think it was 2003. It was summer camp. One of my buddies had a RuneScape account, and a couple of friends were playing it, and I'm like, all right, that's kind of fun. So I made a free-to-play account, and this account is completely lost to time. I remember the username, but it's not. The account, I have no idea. I don't know what email I used for this. I have no clue.
Probably some AOL or Hotmail thing, given the era.
Probably, and it was hosted in on the browser. So we played it at this summer camp. While we're in the morning, who were waiting to get everybody in there to do actual activities as elementary children. And I remember playing this account even at home and farming feathers for my friend for his fletching training. And I would just sit in the chicken pen, because back when the farm,
yeah,
it was I'd be up just north of Lumberdock to the left there, killing chickens with probably a bronze dagger or something. And I don't remember. I think that's kind of where that account ended. But yeah, I did, when I got back to the game a couple years later, I did free to play, all the way up to full rune armor, the full free to play experience before, and I got members the week after summoning came out. I think I've said this on the show before, where summoning was just the coolest thing to me. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do summoning. I want summoning by my first 99. Obviously, at the time, there's no way to do that.
No.
It was the craziest, untrained you could attempt for it.
Now you just roll up to the fairies and thieve Crimson and Blues.
Yeah. Well, it was I remember seeing people in Falador, because you're running from the Falador bank up to pick up sticks. obelisk in Taverley.
Right, because there was no Taverley Bank in that version of the game.
No, I think if you wanted to bank, you could run up north and maybe use the like Rogue's Den, maybe. But like, yeah, people were running from Southern Bank with their terror birds, using terror bird specials to keep their run energy up, and that was like those were the advanced players.
The summoning banking meta early on was Glory with Grak to Karamja, or no, to Piscatoris.
Yes, I think you're right.
With Glories
because of that obelisk was there, and then you would dueling ring back to probably Castle Worth.
Oh yeah, that works too. That works too.
The bank for supplies, and then you Garak teleport up to use the obelisk up near Piscatoris. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember people running with the terror bird and like, oh, that's the coolest thing. I wanted so bad. Like, I felt so cool with my spirit wolf. Oh, so there, yeah. Oh, good times.
What about you, Bears?
Good times.
This would have been in 4th grade. My best friend at the time, still my best man at my wedding. He started playing. He introduced me to the game. I went home, tried it, had a lot of fun. I remember logging in, and we walked to the cow pen in Lumbridge, and he like handed me a bronze dagger and told me to attack the little calf. And I was like, I don't know if I'll win. And I was like, I remember like. I exactly remember his words saying, "This guy's scared of a baby cow." And like he typed that out, and I'm like, "This guy's embarrassing me." And so I went and killed the little cow. And I don't know. I loved mining. That was my favorite skill at the time.
Oh my god!
And like I remember going to the Varrock East mining spot, just mining there all the time, and then walking to the bank and not having the run energy to run the whole time, and I loved it. It was so much fun, and it's crazy to think how much different the game is now.
That's interesting how something like that could be a hook, something that we see as so archaic and so grindy today.
Yeah, and I mean, I was never able to get membership basically until high school. I stopped playing from like after a month. But it was like always in the back of my mind, like, man, this would be a lot of fun to play if I had a better computer, if I could afford membership. And so then high school, I started working a summer job. And then basically from high school on, during the summer, I'd play. And then like during school, I really didn't have the time. And then got to college, had a little bit more time. Yeah, I wasn't a good student, but for some reason I prioritized this or unprioritized this. And then college happened, and I got a new laptop, and I again started playing in the summers, and then stopped playing senior year of college. And then COVID happened, and I started playing the month before COVID, and then I got hooked again. There's so many people who have that same exact story where they started playing late 2019. Yeah, that's insane. But
it was also 5 years ago, and it was also 4 years ago, and it was, but yeah.
Taxi, do you remember?
It was such a good reason to play. Like you're at home anyway, so I'm just gonna play. Have
Taxi,
fun.
do you remember before like the official announcement of COVID, just the sheer number of people that were sick with respiratory stuff that was COVID, and we didn't know?
I don't know that it was huge, because we did start testing people for it pretty early. I mean, given testing at that point was like PCR machines, like this was a expensive and time-consuming process. But like,
because I was knocked out over New Year's with something respiratory going 2019 going into 2020, and I think that was it.
I was in January as well. But I think part of what was going on there too is like it was also flu season, and if I remember correctly, RSV was bad early that year. And then we like didn't have an RSV season in the like normal August time frame the next summer, because nobody was like touching each other. So like kids didn't get sick with it. Like there was a bunch of weird respiratory virus stuff going on right before then that year too.
Okay, so that could have been that. Anyways, yes. Yeah. 6 years into 25, I started RS, and I started in earnest in 2004. But my account stats and the milestone cape that I have says that my account existed before they started counting in February 2002. So I played Classic. And my earliest memory there is similar to yours, Bears. It was the mining and smithing routine of mining the copper, the tin, and later the iron, all in that Lumbridge and Lumbridge Swamp area, using the furnace in Lumbridge, and then walking that per inventory for some silly reason to the anvils in Varrock. And the whole reason I started this was my long-term best friend, Mike, who got me into the game. He's moved on from it, but still maintains a significant part in the back ends of what makes RSBANDB update go from the server side of it, because there's other things hosted on those machines and whatnot. So much like the both of you, I was brought to this game by somebody near and dear to me, and I don't think any of us realized the impact it would have on us and how long we'd be here. Because
20-something years later, like, I haven't gotten rid of us yet.
I honestly don't think I've had a break of more than a few weeks in between since then, which is, just downright shocking when you consider it. Because the way my arc went is that I played for a bit when Classic was going on. Then I came back for RS2 in early 2004. Then, by summer of 2004, we had the website with the dynamic signatures on it and calculators. And then later that September, we started forums, as everybody did in, 2004. So I had a website for this game before I was, level 60 in most skills, which is not the typical arc that most people take. And over Christmas, just randomly in my RuneScape Twitter feed, I see somebody sharing one of those old legacy RSBANDB dynamic forum signatures, and he's got an entire collection of people in the replies saying, what is this? Why does it look like this? So he, of course, filled everybody in that this is what we used to use and show on forums, dynamic signatures showing our RS stats. So that was just a nice throwback to see that after all those years. And we do still have a collection of those if anybody wants to make them at RSBANDB. I don't know where you would use them because I don't think anybody uses forums, and it's not like you can put a dynamic image of your own into a Discord profile or anything. That'd be neat if you could do that, but you can't. So, what does it mean to us? Like, if we were to just sum this all up based on what we said, like what does it mean to us that this game is here still? Like, I know it's something I still use to unwind down with, and whenever I'm feeling
it means the
overly
game's still
stressed,
good, right?
I just, default back to one of the core comfort skills like archaeology or something. That's one thing I use it for.
Yeah, it's a good way to relax. Some people have other hobbies. I play RuneScape. I consider it my hobby. I met some incredible people that I talk to on a daily basis.
That too.
I'm fully planning on being at one of my buddies' weddings next year, and I'm not in it or anything, but I'm going to get invited. I'm going to fly out to the West Coast to go see him and be at his wedding. I'm going to hang out with him in Pittsburgh later this year too, and I'm super excited for it, and just someone I never would have met if it wasn't for the game.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I don't think we ever anticipated we'd be doing all these meetups, though. I guess as teenagers you don't think of that, but as adults it's easier to kind of foresee it going that way.
Well, it's like the Discord. They did like a Discord end of year thing at this past in December, and it's like I've had MMO friends that with several different people, I spent more than 500 hours on voice calls last year. Like, that is 20 plus straight days with multiple different people.
Yeah, same.
It is, these people are no small parts of our life. This RPG notwithstanding, the MMO aspect of this game is absolutely, seeded us into things that are massively life impacting.
Yeah. I also, I should do this one day. I should make like a country map and a state map of where I know people. And another crazy thing alongside of all that is if I have a question about any domain, there's a chance I know somebody who is in that field.
Also true.
They do skew a little bit more towards the engineering-y side for me, but it's still pretty broad.
We've got a lot of techies. We have a lot of techies, but yes.
So there's that, and I also think that, like you said, Thaxi, it's a testament to the game itself, right? We look at RS3. I look at RS3 at least, and I don't know about you guys, but I see this as the flagship game still. In terms of just the amount of energy and money that goes into it and how it looks. But at the same time, the amount of people involved in that game, the amount of people involved in Old School, and the amount of people now, looking at something like Dragon Wilds as a result of maybe being interested in that survival genre, it's a testament, I think, to this IP of RuneScape, because they at Jagex were always trying to figure out what the next bet was, right? And nothing ever took off that wasn't RS. So it's like,
well,
it's the RS universe.
We've spoken to the MMO. We've spoken to the MMO side of things, but I think that really speaks to the RPG side of things, doesn't it? That the game is just excellent at both of its, the classifications. It's like the MMO is great. It brings people together, and the RPG is good. The world is well built. The humor is funny. The content is good.
Yeah.
The gameplay feels like it, they've built a vibrant and like very much a living world, given that the entire world is a scaled down moment in time. At any moment in time, it is, time is frozen, but it is, the story is still there and good.
And two very different options for whether you prefer what OS does, with the slower kind of gameplay, or if you want to go very deep in to the amount of XP per hour you can get and just complete the game on RS3, which I think is something that we saw with the anniversary event that they threw out here. With
real quick before you transitioned.
No,
the other thing is like okay,
but keep going.
The other thing is just how much different stuff you can do in the game too, right? Like, you can sit there and skill all the way to 5.8. You can do PVM until you get Insane Final Boss. You can do Slayer until you get the Insane Slayer, whatever that title is. Like
Golden Slayer Master.
Yeah, you can trade and flip until you have multiple party hats. Like, there's just so much content and like so many different options that you can do anything and never get bored.
And they do it all without a class system.
Yeah.
And it's obviously successful. And I was actually going to bring this up to you, Thaxi, post-show or pre-show at some point, but I didn't get around to it yet. I don't know if you saw today, but Elder Scrolls Online, an MMO that you spent a lot of time in, and I spent a bit of time in, if you have Game Pass now, you're going to have access to the entire suite of expansions and updates for that if you have Microsoft's Game Pass. So that's another way for them to try and, I guess, broaden the net of people that ESO can reach. But RS isn't having that problem.
So that's fair. Yeah.
RS
that's the thing, is the RuneScape's expansions have and will always be free.
Varlamore,
right? Like
on OS, Havenhide coming in a month and a bit, probably.
No, we get weekly expansions. Call it what you will. The updates are, they're micro expansions, but like they release new content, new areas or things to kill, or updates to stuff every week or every few weeks, and it is, all of what for us is free. And Elder Scrolls, their problem with their content is that they've got too many things now. So if you want to get them all, it's like not reasonable. You either pay for their content pass or you pay for Game Pass, which is cool.
Yeah.
Good way to do that. Also, Microsoft owning everything, but this is a positive show.
I'd rather it be Microsoft than some other companies, and I'd rather it be games than AI at this point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like they did the same thing with League of Legends, I think, where they unlocked all champions for anybody with Game Pass. And that's worked out really well by all accounts. So, Microsoft, for whatever they're doing, they're making relationships.
Yeah, they got
big.
The way I understand is that they are trying to make gaming a service, because console-wise, PS5 has won this round, and it's very unclear to what the future of the Xbox division is. So,
it's become the PC gaming.
Yeah, and to just funnel this all back into RS3, it doesn't matter for this game because, like you said, weekly updates, if not that, monthly updates, and those can be something like a quest, a skilling update, or an entire expansion of a new continent itself. And
25 years of expansions,
which is crazy when you think about it. Like if you
actually,
like, what's the one that jumps out to you the most if you're like looking at like big content that was added? Both of you.
I mean, it's archaeology, isn't it?
I think so.
Or like it's got to be one of the skills. For RS3, it's got to be one of the skills.
Have you heard of the mining and smithing rework?
No, you might be right for that. Actually, you might be right for that. That might be the winner.
I think that was just like the first skill. I mean, it was the first couple skills where they kind of modernized it, and I mean, it feels like skills kind of gone off the success of that, which
right. And
I know
see,
it's kind
the
of a
thing
meme to make that joke, but
is that
I think it is true.
When Mod Jack was around, and the company discussions following mining and smithing rework, they wanted to do nothing like that again because of the amount of time it took. But I think if you look at some of the 110s and even 120 theming that just happened, and the other skills, they're all in that blueprint of a certain level of polish that we saw with mining and smithing.
I mean, third time pace for all. It's like at the time it probably didn't seem like the engagement and the metrics and everything for it were worth the amount of development time. But gosh dang, if time hasn't borne out that they use the systems they developed for that rework in so many other skills, and it is still touted as one of the best skills. Like, the skilling experience for mining and smithing is still absolutely peak, no matter how you do it. The balancing is good, the pacing is good, the like retrieving the like every part of that update. It fixed a lot of the like economic side of things where we're not deconning all this stuff. Like, obviously it left us with salvage because salvage was the leftovers of the old system and they have to have, but like, peak, strong work.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to claw my eyes out whenever I play mining and smithing on old school. So,
I heard you wanted coal.
I said claw. Anyways, RS is just, I don't know. It's just that forever game for me, I think, which so many other games have come and gone in terms of, that I play, but it's RS is always just there. So,
kind of a side note, related. Do you remember when they released the Notes app? In-game, like the in-game notes panel where you could like take little notes and like reminders for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that we use that terribly often. Like, I've got some code stored in there for random things, like for dimensional disaster and stuff like that. But like, there's a bunch of Easter eggs in that code. And the first one I remember finding or hearing about, at this point that must have been close to 20 years ago, was if you type, and I think this is still there, if you type RIP RuneScape in, it will. Instead of putting that message, it translates it to German, and the words instead are like, it's something the idea of like, what is the dead may never die, or like something like that. That's basically saying, nah, screw you, game's still alive, you're still typing in it. Like, you can leave, game's doing just fine. And like, it's still true. And RuneScape just seems evergreen. Like, it's the game, it's the game that will never die. 25 years in, we're not disproving it yet.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, the Silver Jubilee is what this is, and that's the music track that unlocks at the Lumbridge Courtyard when you go there and you go see Hans and everybody else who is involved in
True.
the 25th anniversary event. You get a little 25-point task list to go and do. You go and talk to a bunch of people, and you, at the end of that, get the 25th anniversary cosmetic cape override and the scarf involved with this. So, some of the dialogue that came from this is just absolutely amazing. Going back into the game's history, when you look at this, and I think the ones that there was a bit of introspection going on, because if you look at the ones that involve, say, the Guthix Memorial Stone or Divination, you say, to Guthix, I did what you wanted me to do, and that it's your character effectively looks inward and says, we still need to make the world better and whatnot. And I think the thing that's looking forward to is, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong here, but it kind of felt like when we were looking at those, it almost felt as though they were kind of winking and nodding that, we were in this period of the Sixth Age over the top business, but we're becoming more grounded now. And with everything to come over the next year and a bit, it's time to effectively look inward and make the game world better. That's kind of what I read into some of these. Some of the other ones were just, hey, here's a set of dragon bones, or hey, you remember when archaeology came out? That sort of thing involved with that. So, did you guys run through these?
I ran through them, but I did not read any of them. I
Okay.
did it, and I did it an hour after the release of the update.
Yeah,
so I
fair
probably
enough.
should have waited, and I did it the least efficient way possible. I did year by year, which was
Well,
kind of
That's
cool.
what I
to,
did.
do
That's
it that
what I
way.
did too. That's what I did too.
But the amount of times I went to Falador Lodestone, I'm like, gosh, dang it, I could have done this so much better.
You guys were mentioning the mining and smithing update. That was 2019's. You get a tongue-in-cheek discussion with Axel in the Artisan's Workshop, where she says that you say that even the stray dogs in Varrock have heard about it by now.
That's funny.
I mean, they let those criers in the world just a little too long. Okay.
But
yeah,
oh,
I mean,
what a time,
that was
right?
fun. I think they said
What was
it's
it?
good to look back on it all.
Yeah.
And I think they said the task list is up for the whole year, right? Like it's going to be sticking
The
around.
task list is up for the whole year.
Yeah.
But
not everything is, but
not everything is. Not everything is up for the whole year. The thing that is only up for this month is the inverted skill cape hunt, which is happening. Yeah. What are we going for?
I'll lead off here. I've already done divination and fishing. The 120 capes for both of those. The fishing took a lot longer than divination. Divination I was done in like an hour and a half. Fishing took like 8 hours. So that was a little tough. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to go for next. I liked the yellow idea because I had a yellow Santa hat chilling in my bank. So the fishing kind of went with it. And then ideally a goal of mine is to get a party hat at some point. Yellow is the cheapest. So made sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of yellow options though. I like
the
defense one. Defense looks good, and then thieving is probably going to be my other one. So I'm thinking those 4 as of now.
Okay, so what were the 4? Thieving, defense,
defense, fishing, divination.
Okay, that works. I already had the inverted farming run from Fresh Start, of course, so people don't need to worry about that. So that one is taken care of. But otherwise, I was thinking of being a bit unconventional for this one. I think Necromancy, because that one wasn't around when Fresh Start happened. So that's one.
The purple's good.
Wood cutting, because that one's also green.
Of course.
And then archaeology. I need to do archaeology because that was unfinished business on Fresh Start. I got 99, but didn't have enough time before it ended to get 120. So that was unfinished business there. And then for my fourth one, I'm thinking of going really unconventional and just doing defense because it's white.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
The other one I considered was magic potentially, but because for the blue. So it'll be between defense or magic. But here's the thing, folks. You can only do 4 a year.
Yeah, and only this month.
And
They're only
this
available
month.
for 1 month. So
and from what I've seen, it's been quick enough that you're going to be able to get it done within, a few days. Unless you have a oddball one like you had, Bears, with fishing.
I've seen dungeoneering being pretty bad as well.
Yeah,
I like the dungeoneering one. I'm a little sad to hear that.
Also,
that was one that was potentially on my list.
Also note there is no inverted Questcape. That one is not back. Which is like, how would you bring the inverted Questcape back, right? Because it's not like we have oodles and oodles of quests to complete.
Right.
Faxi, what would you go for?
I think archaeology and Slayer both have to be on there for me. Just because I think they look super clean. Hit points is like, I don't know how I go specific. I mean, I guess hit points just takes a while. I don't know. Other tournament wants hit points, and then defense or magic. I'm thinking the defense just because it would be nice to have something to wear with my quest cape outfit when I don't have the master quest cape.
Right.
And it kind of matches the vibe. I don't know. I really like the Slayer one. I've got a handful of outfits that match the regular Slayer cape. And that like black and red color scheme I think is super easy to find outfits for in the game. There's a lot of stuff like Dagon High and things that do red and black well.
Let's not also forget that, it's it went previously for red capes, it was basically just strength, right? I think.
Attack.
Strength,
I believe.
Attack. Yeah. Or no, green.
Yeah.
Strength was the green one. The inverted strength one is red with green trim on it. That one almost looks like a Christmas cape there.
Tempting.
But with this, we're thrown back to just how many of the capes, when they were on their inverted side, turned out to be yellow.
There's a lot of yellow trim, turns out. Turns out a lot of golden particles, golden trim on capes.
Yeah.
Also thieving.
Yeah.
Honorable mention thieving.
Because that one,
the thieving cape is clean.
Because that one goes black as well. But, and I mean, if I was going to do necromancy, thieving would probably be the one for that. And then we go back to the inverted farming cape. I'll just mention this one, not the inverted master, but just the regular inverted farming cape. Do you remember what the color of that looked like?
It's like a light green, isn't it? It's like a sage kind of.
Well, see, that's the thing. The master cape is light green, but the regular cape is like olive.
Oh yeah, it was that gross like baby puke color.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. So okay, I haven't really looked into this. How does this work with the 99? Can you also get 4 different 99s, or do the 99s unlock?
They're
with
for the
120?
same skill. So the way it works.
Oh, interesting.
The way it works is that you need 990 shards to get the 99, and then obviously 1,200 to get the 120. But if you don't have the 120 before you begin the process, you need to go back and talk to the person to start to get the 120 shards after you get the 120. For people who might be, getting a 120 in this month. So
if you got a 99 cape, like if I've got 112 divination or something, I don't know. Whatever. I don't. I think I have 108. Whatever. If I went for the divination cape, would that take one of my 4 slots? Would I not be able to get 4 master cape unlocks this year?
Correct. That would be one of your 4 slots.
That sucks. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I only have half my skills, I think, at 120. The rest are all 110 plus, except for divination.
Yeah,
Huh.
and see that's the
Okay.
thing I was looking at with this is it's like I don't want to, do too many 120 pushes with this, but I think within the month going from, I think I'm at like 60 mil defense XP and going to 120, getting 40 mil defense XP in the month should be doable, right?
Oh, I mean, you could do that in 10 hours, 10,
Yeah.
12 hours.
Which
mean,
I think the
no, that's
best
not
way
true.
of
Look
going
at
about
Gamer's
that
Day.
is probably the abyssal creatures in the wilderness, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
and some variety of that, or Phantom Warriors, or like there's
Yeah,
a whole bunch of
something.
ways to get like 2 to 3 mil combat experience an hour,
Yeah.
or even a little more. Use those pulse cores. Use all that good treasure hunter nonsense. We're getting a
let it rip
treasure hunter's
before it's
getting
done,
really-
right?
I think sometime in the next couple of weeks we're getting all of our like bonus keys if you have
Oh,
Premiere, right? So
right.
you'll get hundreds of. You may get enough. You may
Why
get
couldn't
enough
they give us
keys to
those
go
bonus keys
120.
before the Santa's promotion is done?
Because they know how powerful the Santa promotion is, Shane. It's not all about the Santa hats.
I know.
Uh,
I see that based on our high score list here for the achievements. I think that's what happened there with everybody on this list. At least some of them. But
Oh, did they release the keys already? I haven't
no, they
actually been
didn't. But I
logged in
know
to
there
check.
was a contingent of people in Clan Quest who were buying and using promotions to kind of have a last hurrah at it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's also. Do you have 2 weeks of achievements? We haven't recorded in a minute.
Yeah, I do have like 2.5 weeks of
So there's that
achievements
too.
as well. That does it. But
Yeah.
okay. As things go, as the tangent goes, that means it's time to move on. Anything else on 25 years of RS anniversary celebrations or inverted capes?
No.
Nope.
All right, then. Well, in that case, I'm going to thank some Patreon supporters. First time this year. Big, huge thank you. This week goes out to Alaska, Alvaro L., Amos Reed, Arvids L., Bambino, Bladecom, Brandon F., Jules Burra, Dominic R., Duramax, Golden XP, Guy Lafleur, Imperialis, Jade Gizmo, Jason S., Jesse W., Julia W. Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Mattman, Mighty Myth, Michelle M., Mike Wings, Mongrath, Pernasius, Ricky A., Robbie D., Rob Sov, Samuel FL, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Sioaces, Smavin, Snail Mage, Tabby, The Naked Captain, The Dabbing Goat, Tim, Ukulele Steve, Woody, Zant, and Zazakon. Big, huge thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Another year is on the way. Another collection of RSBANB Update monthly bits are about to begin. The first one this month will be discussing integrity, specifically what kind of integrity updates has the game had in the past, and what can we expect going forward on that? So we'll aim to record that about next week or so. A little bit later on this one because somebody in the who runs this show and channel wanted to have a bit of a Christmas break this year, unlike other years. Somehow I still managed to not manage to do that effectively. But nonetheless, if you want to hear that monthly bit when it arrives, head on over to patreon.com/RSBNB and sign up for as little as $1 a month. And for that, you'll get access to the entire back catalog of monthly bits, upwards of 90 of them now. And of course, with that, you'll be helping to fund the cause for hosting and production of RSBNB Update, and you'll get a thank you in our show notes. For $3 a month, you can join our community tier. You'll get Discord VIP rank, channel access, and a monthly shout out on the show, plus high quality stereo versions of the podcast. We'll also ask you from time to time your ideas about monthly bits. Submit Patreon discussion topics when we have a quiet week, and you'll take part in our community night episodes when we do those. We also do have our insider tier, where for $5 a month, you'll get a weekly shout-out on the podcast and access to our expanded clip archive and outtakes, which is starting fresh because it's the first week of the year. So if there's clips for the clip show or interesting things from pre-show, perfect time to sign up for that one to get access to all those. And, of course, come December, a long time from now, you'll get an RSBNB update Christmas card. But patreon.com/RSBNB. Thanks so much, everyone.
Whoa, thank you.
Alrighty. Let's talk about ranged again with where we're at. How are we feeling here? Let's start with you, Bears, because actually, let me recap the changes first. That's probably a good idea. But Bears, start thinking how you feel about this. Effectively, what we have is we have a combat beta in place that I want to say modernizes the ranged combat style, remove the threshold ability types, increase the level to 120, completely streamlined a lot of the abilities that were out there, and effectively lowered the complexity for new players, they say, and we'll see how well that was done, making it feel like a little bit more like necromancy. I think that's a good way to describe it. What do you guys think? Let's start with you, Bears, because you weren't here for the initial back and forth on this in December.
So overall, I mean, one of the things they said their goal was to give it more of a identity, and they're leaning into the identity of multi-hits. I think they did a great job with that. The splinter shot ability that they added just kills it, and like the idea that's overpowered in the beta, but the idea is it just deals more damage per like every ability you hit, and you can have it constantly have it up, and I think it deals like 600 damage to every ability in the beta. That's going to be too much. But like the idea is instead of you doing a wild magic that hits twice for like 10k each, you're going to do a rapid fire, which would hit about 10k also. But now it's going to deal maybe 11, 12, 13,000 because it has that extra buff of splinter shot. So it just like it leans into that thing. The reason I don't like it, and I have the same issue with Necro, it is just kind of how my keybinds are and my abilities. You can't use Revolution to just do basics. If you have Snapshot or for Necro, it is Bloat ahead of your basics. So it will fire that off automatically, even if you have it only set to do basics, because it's not considered a threshold. It just uses adrenaline. So that bothers me a lot because I would just I like to play with Revo with basics. I mostly hit all the keybinds myself, but I need to reach my face real quick. I can do that and it'll fire off G-Rick Hill for me or any ability, right? I can't do that if it's doing manual. If I do that now, it will fire off Snapshot, which I don't want. And it just takes away my adrenaline. I was building up for something else.
Because Snapshot's no longer a threshold.
Yes, it's now just an ability that uses adrenaline, I guess.
No cooldown. It's the
Yes.
only new ability with no cooldown, which is great. I mean, it's the weakest of the abilities that spends adrenaline. So it's like I don't have anything else to spend adrenaline on. I'm getting close to full. I hit the snapshot button a bunch of times. Great.
Yeah. I do think they nailed the idea of the identity with multi-hits with range. It will lean directly into what the Bow of the Last Guardian does, what ECB does, what Soul Split does, what SGB does.
Cinderbanes.
Yep, Cinderbane. So I like the idea. I like the effort. They just need to fine-tune some of the damage things. Taking away stalling is interesting. I personally use it sometimes. It's not hard. It's not that beneficial. It's not, in my mind, it's not worth it most of the time, unless I'm actually going for a combat achievement that needs time. That's really the only time I'll do it. So that'll be interesting. They also said they were going to look at Incend not giving extra adrenaline for crits, which there's
nothing in the style book right now that does that, whereas both Melee and Magic have that. So I think it'd be good to keep parity on that.
I think so too. I mean, I think when I'm at Solak, I hybrid between Magic and Melee, but I still bring a bow and bolts to be able to use Incend occasionally. So like it is useful. It's still feels weird that you can do that, and like especially now that every ability hits, that you can get away with doing it. But it's in the game now, and I actually do like it because I like having adrenaline is fun. Like you get to do more abilities that hit harder. That's fun. So I'm torn on that, but that's probably a discussion for another time.
Yeah, and that falls into what we're calling the necromancification of ranged. Google liked it when I came up with that word, by the way, because and I wanted to get your opinion on this, Bears, because for me, I personally have done all of my combat since necromancy with necromancy, and I've got kill times and whatnot that are competitive enough that I am able to effectively do all of the bosses in the game with my tier 95 gear and the basic necromancy rotation that I have. But ranged was my first combat style back in 2021, and I wasn't using it to its effectiveness back then. And it got significantly way more complicated with things like the Bow of the Last Guardian and whatnot. But I feel like the wall for me to jump into ranged has come down if it goes into game looking anything like it looks here. And I think for me, that's a good thing, because I don't necessarily know if I'll go back to ranged. I'd much rather, dabble with magic. But I like that this was done. And I still feel leery about talking about the numbers, because until we hear back from Mod Sponge and people about how they're feeling about this, the numbers are put into the beta to make a splash. So I don't feel comfortable talking about numbers until we're, have an idea of how close we are to this going live. So I feel like we're still going based on vibes here, and that's okay.
Very, very simply, they put abilities together as a rotation that feels satisfying to do in a play style and an identity for the style that feels unique and interesting and reads very well at every level.
Yes,
exactly. Starting from level 2, and we'll go back to that. But to put it very simply right now and very, you were saying this, the you're testing, even without optimizing your rotation, without knowing exactly how being able to use all of your specials and cooldowns and everything, you're still out damaging the live with the damage you're doing on the beta. So the beta is strong right now and will likely need to be pared back a little bit. So we don't need to go into the numbers.
Right, because you're also benefiting from that level increase to 120 here on the beta.
I am 120, yes.
Yeah.
We don't have auras, though. So, that's the thing. Is if the level increase and the amount of damage you get from auras are almost parity, so those, I think we can count out entirely. Assuming you're doing your testing in the live game with Reckless Aura on, when you go into the beta, you are just going to have a Reckless Aura active effectively at all times, except that instead of having your defense lowered by 15%, you will, in theory, when this goes to the live game and 120 defenses, the thing, you will, in theory, also have your defenses raised by 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
So 120 def is all big ball.
So like Bears, how do you feel about the necromancification of it? So I wanted to ask you that, given my perspective that I just laid out of how it made it easier.
Yeah, I like that part of it. It's going to be significantly easier to follow a rotation or understand what abilities should be next, what ability is good, what ability is bad. The issue is still going to come down to Bow of the Last Guardian being multiple billion, the SGB being multiple hundreds of mil, ECB 100 mil. Everything is still going to be stupid expensive.
Dracolich or Serenic being expensive. Yeah.
So that, getting multiple EOFs. If you have all that already, it'll be good. It'll be super simple to understand. Without knowing the numbers, no idea if it'll be comparable or not. But the vibes and the feeling of it, it did feel good. It felt like Rapid Fire was a lot of fun to use. Deadshot was dealing more damage with Splinter Shot. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it felt better. It was like in my testing, I was so much more relaxed in the beta, and then I switched to the main game, and I was like, I'm nowhere close to this damage, and I feel like I tried more, and I had a better like I knew what I wanted to do. I had tendrils.
Has it been dumbed down?
I think so.
Yeah. I would almost counterpoint you, Bears, in terms of like the beta. I think if that goes live, I think they've done so much to bring the floor of the style up. I think that even without the upgrades, I think if you like gave yourself a fresh account with 120 range and no upgrades, no gear, and a budget of like 100 or 200 mil, like enough to get a set of like tier 90 gear, like the simplest cheap nonsense you could find, and perk it out. I think there's a world where range still works really well. And I think that currently on like live game, range feels pretty dooky with that same setup with the
That
like a
I would
buzzed
agree with that.
air-cooled
Yeah.
Like,
thing.
and that was my
I think because you don't have any way to like, I guess Onyx bolts, but it's hard to like vamp back health. Range has a lot of things that it doesn't have access to that other styles do. And like the way the beta is set up to me, I think invites people in just like Necromancy does. Like remember, Necromancy, you don't unlock souls. You can't generate or use souls until level 54. Necromancy starts you off with like, here's your builders and here's Finger of Death, have fun. And Finger of Death hit like truck it, feel good. And Range does the way it's set up in the beta does the same thing right now, where you unlock Snapshot at level 2. It is no cooldown. So you have a basic attack that generates adrenaline and a snapshot that hit real big numbers. And that feels great.
yeah.
And then in the 20s, you get snipe and piercing shot, and you get like, okay, so I now got this new mini game where I effectively get the damage of a free snapshot once a minute, and I can make that more frequent by hitting this other ability. Cool. Like it becomes so intuitive, and it really builds into that idea of like, I'm gonna hit a lot of times. Like my entire goal here is hit boss many times. Like I think it's 40s or 50 you unlock the new Splinter Shot ability, and then all of the things that you've already been doing suddenly make more sense and are more important, and like it builds on itself so well at every level with the unlocks, the way that they have it set up on the beta, that I think it is in the same way that Necromancy builds on itself, where it's like, yeah, it's super hard to make a bad Necromancy rotation. You could just chuck abilities on your bar, and it doesn't matter what order they're in. As long as you don't have bloat on Revo, you are literally good. Like that is the only requirement.
Yeah.
Is don't have bloat on Revo.
And I think that would be an interesting thing to try here. Get somebody with level 90 range, give them regular Seretic, and say, go have at it, and then later on have them keep that Serenic armor, what have you, and then when they can, make a masterwork bow and see, what can you do with this without all the other little upgrades around the edges. I think that'd be an interesting discussion to have. And the reason I ask about if it felt dumbed down is because I always feel like ranged has been the style expression combat skill. Are you worried about that going away with this, based on what we had here, Bears?
I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, the more people doing it, the better. Like, I don't know. As long as people are having fun, the more people are having fun, that's better to me in my mind. Like, I can find fun other ways if I don't like it for some reason, which I did like it, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. We mentioned Snapshot in particular. With the ability for that to just continually suck adrenaline, and the fact that that's not a threshold anymore, which means that it will just continually suck adrenaline on that bar, no matter where we use it, and it plays an interesting game because it makes ranged primarily about managing your adrenaline, which in some ways is simpler than Necromancy, because with Necromancy, you're managing the adrenaline, but you're also managing necrosis and souls. So how do we feel about that management side of it here in terms of choosing when to spend each one?
Necromancy has about 3 or 4 abilities with cooldowns, and the range now has a lot of abilities with cooldowns. So that is the trade-off to me, is that like for whatever specs you're using, you've got those, even if it's just like one. usually there's a special with a cooldown, but you're also managing cooldowns for all of your hard-hitting abilities, right? The snapshot's the worst of your abilities. All of the rest of everything has a cooldown that you're managing. So you're managing cooldowns on like the Splinter Shot, which is super important, and Death Swiftness. And on top of those, like the Dead Shot now hits like an absolute truck. And the new Snipe if you're using it, which is a whole deal. And like, so you're managing that side of things in terms of like prioritizing and trying to line up those cooldowns. Now, rapid fire, also especially honestly above anything else. Or rapid fire, thing like truck, need good.
Yeah, especially with the Elite Dracolic. And I mean, when it comes to adrenaline management, then we compare that to live and what we got here. How did that feel, Bears?
I felt like was getting more adrenaline in live still. I felt like I was able to get more abilities off. So I definitely noticed a difference in the lack of adrenaline during the beta, and that at that part didn't feel good. As I said earlier, adrenaline makes the game fun because adrenaline makes big hits. So that's still the issue. I mean, when I did both my testing, I made sure I got either Meteor Strike or Send down before I started building to Death Swiftness, just so I could get crits to keep getting adrenaline, and that was my way of kind of managing it, and it made it better. But like, I felt like it wasn't enough still.
So basically,
did you play around with Natty at all? I wonder how Natty does with this.
I did try that
you're
once.
winding up a burst window.
I did try it once. It wasn't much different.
Okay.
Bummer.
Because that's effectively what we had during leagues, right? Just double adrenaline gain from basics. Yeah. Okay. And I think it's important to lean into that adrenaline, because one of the key things that came up with this is, when do you choose Splintering Shot and when do you choose Death Swiftness?
I think you have Splintering Shot up at all times.
Yeah.
So what's the use case then for DS?
You still use that
at all times.
Yeah, whenever that's available, you still use it.
They're your two strongest abilities, and like, yes, they're expensive to
but
use,
they don't stack,
but like your
right?
third strong, they do. So,
okay.
Splinter Shot doesn't get the bonus damage from Death Swiftness. It doesn't get the extra 50%.
Oh, I see.
But it does still hit. So, like, anytime you use Splinter Shot, I think the math I did on it for an average, like, just letting Revo run my rotation, was like, on average, Splinter Shot's going to do like a little over 6,000 ability damage for me, 6,000%. And Death Swiftness, when you think about like doing 50% extra damage on your core range skills for 30 seconds, you're getting around those numbers. Somebody who's very good at the game and using a lot of the, like, using those special attacks well and their amulets, like, is going to get close to like 8,000 or 9,000. But in terms of like the actual benefit you're getting for the GCD you spent and the adrenaline you spent, is like, it's relatively on parity. So you'd want them both active at all times. The third best ability in that slot would be something like Dead Shot or or like an SGB spec. And those are nowhere near as much damage as Splinter Shots or Death Swiftness. Like, if either of those two things is about to come off cooldown, you want to have the adrenaline to use it immediately. And then after that, your adrenaline prioritizes down the damage list appropriately.
Which is that action bar that you did back in December, basically, that same list there on that.
Yeah.
And
currently,
from that,
again, balance still not final.
Yeah, balance pending. That's why we're not talking too much about numbers. And I remember saying on that episode, I think I wanted to ask Bears, special attack wise, what are we at? ECB?
So
SGB
I was able to
for
get
big targets, obviously, right?
ECB and SGBs in pretty consistently. I didn't find like I had enough adrenaline to ever use Dark Bow or the new bow that I can never remember the name of.
Gloomfire.
Yes. I just
Were you
didn't
bulk
feel like.
specking?
Yes, I was also bulk specking. So those three were the three I was using, and I just did not have enough adrenaline to use any other ones. So and
Which,
like
I mean,
that might be able to
is one
change
way to kill Splitscape.
if I'm at a boss that's dealing a lot of damage. I can throw in a divert in there to get adrenaline. Like Zammy gives you adrenaline after each pad gets charged. Like there are places where you would be able to use them. Like Telos green beams, but who's using range at Telos? Um, I mean,
Me,
there are times that you
And
could
that's
do it,
really the
but
question. Like, who's using ranged when we have Tubemakin's magic, or Necromancy for simplicity, or Melee for big hits? Who is using range today?
like I love range, and
Yeah,
right now,
it's
like if I
people
went to
like you.
Solak, I'm hybriding. If I'm going to Zammy, I'm hybriding with melee magic. If I'm going to Nakatra, I'm using magic. Like Masket, I'm using
real,
magic. So I magic is just better right now still, and it
And
is
and
a
and,
lot
and
less
that's
effort.
why you need this update, basically.
Yeah.
So, and see, that's what I was wondering, is there going to be any other sort of special attacks that are going to creep in from this? But with the numbers that are tuned how they are now out of the beta, it seems as though that we just lean in on the the ones that you mentioned, plus things like Deadshot and what have you. Do you think it's still worth using SGB on the smaller 1 to 2 tile targets compared to the big ones?
never.
Probably not. Yeah. 3x3, that's when it starts getting
Yeah.
worth it, and then 5x5, it's obviously worth it.
The I mean, on live right now, we've been through this, like, historically, the highest game version of the combat styles. We've been through everything for being the most complicated, right? There was the time when Fortic auto attacking made Magic the best and the most complicated. There was a time when Melee was handling all of the switches and having all the problems. And now with this, like, Bolg and Wen arrows and, like, frankly, 4 or 5 EOFs for Magic, include when you arrange when you included things like the Zamibo, like all the things that you like potentially want to spec with. Plus, you're carrying like 3 or 4 potentially rune pouches, plus a quiver or two. Like
And a
you
Nexus,
just
maybe.
range. Yeah, range is this like in this weird spot where you're literally carrying like potentially 5 or 6 amulets and 5 or 6 ammo slot items as switches. Like not even gears, like weapon switches, just like ammo and necklace. And like range has become the complicated lean in combat style.
But it
where
doesn't
you
need to be
can
that
put out.
complicated.
Well, and that's what this seems to be like pulling back on, is that like, hey, if we just limit your adrenaline, suddenly those EOS become a lot less useful. And the priorities on them, like if we make all of these abilities hit really hard and it costs a lot of adrenaline, because remember, like the old system, thresholds cost 15%. Nothing in the new system costs 15% right now. I think that's intentional. I think that's why we're having adrenaline problems, is because like so many of the abilities are good and cost a lot of adrenaline. And there are things that could have been special attacks previously that are like that level of good. And so they're pushing out some of these like air quotes weaker special attacks that we have in EOFs that are like really pushing you to need the extra switches.
Yeah. Because I'm just looking at this here and I'm thinking, this needs to be a combat style as one of the main 3 that anybody can jump into. But at the same time, it's got to, provide the lean in that people have come to expect from it. And I haven't done any looking to see what, the likes of PVME and whatnot are saying about this beta, or, other people on that. It's like we said, mostly just been my personal feelings from that, high upper mid tier PVM perspective, and then what you have said on the math Thaxi and you bears on your actual playthroughs from this. Another thing we wanted to mention in particular about the ability synergies being absolutely amazing is that when you have that splinter shot always up and running, after that you go into a rapid fire and you keep that up as well, and that just amplifies how good rapid fire was before with Elite Dracolic. So
well, rapid fire hits 8 times. Splinter shot does 30% ability damage per hit. So you just got 240% ability damage and just added onto your rapid fire. And that your rapid fire got a lot better.
And we always used to kind of look down on
I did.
rapid fire before, didn't we?
Yeah, and then
Well,
especially if you consider ECB in there too, I mean that's another
yeah.
so much percentage of damage.
And range is now like even more synergizing with that extra soul split damage or split soul damage because all these hits are small, so you're getting extra all of the full benefit. You're not hitting the cap on soul split. So
And,
yeah,
and that leads into
synergy.
what they said they wanted it to be. And then we haven't heard anything else on this, but there was that one comment, I think it was by Sponge, with snipe and the option being on the table to have an entirely different sniper kind of gameplay style for the skill. And I wonder, do you need that? Like, I don't necessarily know if you need that. If anything, I think the thing that's missing from ranged as it is on the beta right now, it's twofold: AoE and sustained healing.
It wouldn't hurt me. My feelings also some kind of dots, because they killed every single dot range has now, except for technically corruption shot, which is also its only AoE. It's like the only AoE and the only is that, and that's weird.
But again, I mean, this is a living beta because Tendrils is obviously still missing as well, as is things like Salt the Wound and Greater Dazing Shot to make the Splintering Arrows do their thing.
They mentioned like the having that sniper side of things being a like alternative secondary play, so as a reward space that they would release abilities as a reward space that would fill that. And I talked on the last show about why I have concerns about making that balanced and why that I think it just doesn't balance well. But I don't love that. I think snipe as it is currently like a fun ability that has zero power behind it. Like I think it's actually just honestly a trap of a choice in a lot of spots in your rotation.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to activate it at key points and I didn't see much from it. Bears, how do you feel about Snipe's current incarnation?
I didn't like it. So I just stopped using it pretty quickly.
It's weird because it doesn't generate any adrenaline for 4 ticks, and it does about the same damage as a snapshot, which is the worst of our adrenaline spenders. So it's like if you were just auto attacking that time, instead of getting 300% damage and no adrenaline, you're getting the equivalent of like 150% damage because you would get a little bit more than one auto attack off, and you would generate, the equivalent of like 12% adrenaline in those 4 ticks. And like that adrenaline seems more valuable to me than the extra like 100 and some percent damage. Like snipe, it feels really cool because it is like when you first unlock it in the like progression, it's like, oh, I got this really big hit that I can do for free, and this other ability is synergized with
but it's not a big hit. It's not a big hit, but by the time you're 120 ranged and you have everything else,
well, it's gonna hit cap. Like you can get it to hit cap, I think, pretty easily, which is super satisfying. Like in the same way that the Dragon Long spec feels great, even though that's probably not the best thing to use your adrenaline on. It feels great because it's just hits like rock. And like, there's everything else that range just like, yes, both rapid fire and snapshot and like, what's the dense shot all hit harder, but they do it over the course of many damage splats. Versus snipe is just one big and that one big hit feels real good.
And we looked into this after
if it doesn't have power, it feels good. Great.
We looked into this after the last episode. That does interact with poison. So there's that too.
Yeah, and like the Cinderbanes, every time you attack a target, have a 1 in 6 chance to reapply poison. So your like Cinderbanes also synergize very well with the like beta setup for range, where you're hitting so many more times. Like it is, poison actually becomes more relevant again, too, which is cool.
So awesome. I think if we were to just draw a line through this, then Splinter Shot is effectively the linchpin of this current setup as everything is on beta. That's one thing. And the other thing is synergize with rapid fire, things like dead shots, and your specs like the ECB and whatnot. and then through that you're kind of off to the races with that. And I mean, I guess Bears, you being the ranged person, is there anything you feel that you could do on the live game that's lacking now? And what of what you experienced on the beta has really, just made you fall in love with your style again?
I don't think there'd be anything in a live game that I feel like. That's a tough question. I can't think of anything off the top of my head to answer that well.
Okay.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right. Well, what would you say then amazed you most in the beta?
I did enjoy seeing all the hit spats. It did remind me of, I don't know if I was on during the ranged Bic Arrow meta where it was just use Bic Arrows, use Cinderbanes, use Weapon Poison, use Vampora, use the black crystal you get from Russia Blood. Yeah, I think it's Russia Blood.
And then the
like
craziness of the whatever
weapon,
the Reaver special or the Reaver.
Yep, that was
too.
Like, was it overpowered? Yes. Was it so silly? Yes. Was it so much fun? Yes. Like the fact that someone like sat there and was like, wait a second, there's a random crystal you get from Russia Blood that stops you from getting to max HP. That would be really good with this. Like, that's so creative, so clever, and like it was so much fun. So like you're not going to get that level of poison procs, but like I look forward to seeing those multi hits again, all proccing poison and all dealing damage.
All right. We also do need to talk about ammo.
Yeah.
I'm going to just assume that it's using too much as it is in the beta, and that will be tuned going forward. That's my happy thought on that right now.
I think what they didn't consider is because they increased the amount of ammo we're consuming by like a factor of 10 almost, and like it's not just that you're using it; it's that like the cost of it, because you're using it faster, the cost also goes up because there's less supply. So the amount you're using is increased and the cost is increased. So the cost is like, even if you're using 10 times as much ammo, you might be using 100 times as much gold worth of ammo. And that's a problem. The cost of it needs to get factored into that. It's like there's a cubic function or not cubic, but there's a, it number go up real fast.
And like,
for cost to be.
Especially with how annoying the dino arrows are to make. Like, I had to do that on leagues, and I was like, I'm so glad my Iron Man account, I've never made it this far with range that I've wanted to do this because it's brutal.
Like, unless we're using Araxite arrows, there's not enough of any ammo in the game to support the how the beta is right now.
Right, and
even
see, the thing
would
is,
eventually get burned through.
None of the other combat styles are like that, so that tells me that's something that will be heavily changed before we go live with any changes, whatever they might be.
I expect, because this is like reading ahead a little bit, but we know that magic and melee are going to be coming up in these betas, right? Like, range is clearly the biggest problem child right now for any number of reasons, and so is getting the first beta. But magic and or range, magic and or mage will be magic and melee will be coming. And like, in theory, they would do the same thing to magic's runes. So like, yep, abilities should probably consume some amount of runes.
Right, because when you consider how many and see, the thing is, like, considering balance, 120 thieving made it very easy to get some of the higher level runes by thieving. So, I mean, that could be an option going forward here. But then you're going to still be capped on things like the splintering arrow tips or the death spore arrow tips, as an example.
Oh yeah. I mean, and like Barry was saying, making the dine arrows is a sad processed right now. It is not enjoyable
What is
to
your
do
what is
the
your
many steps.
what is your ammo type primarily on live bears? Like, what do you use? Like, how many quivers do you have, and what do you use normally?
I have 2 quivers. So one has, oh gosh, I can't remember what they are. Death spores. Those are the ones that give you a free ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, and then either one or Bic, depending if the boss is poisonable or not, or stock occasionally too. But a lot of times you realize you don't have like 100 enough hit chance to use stock. So usually
Sure.
when, and then the other, so those are in separate quivers. Dust Spore and Hydrix bolts are on one quiver, and then the other arrow type and Hydrix bolts are on the other
So
one.
then you bring
So
a
I always have
crossbow to
Hydrix
fire the
bolts.
Hydric bolts then as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, occasionally. Again, because it's you need adrenaline always, and so I was trying to do that in the beta as well. And I mean, it's so inconsistent because sometimes you fire one off a G Rico with Hydrix bolts, and you go from 10% adrenaline to 100. Next time you go from 10% to 18%, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, that bolt proc chance is the
Yeah.
heck of a game.
Do you
So,
play the
I only
micro
choose
game with Wen?
quivers. No,
No, okay.
no, there's too much to be paying attention to already. As someone who's hasn't used ranged enough recently.
Mm,
All right, fair enough. Now we kind of already mentioned this a bit, but do we think that the whole idea here is to take these combat skills to 120 and lower the barrier to entry?
Yep.
Without,
Yeah.
leaving too many pro users behind. Like, if we could say, what is the ultimate end goal of this beta? Because that's kind of what it feels like to me.
I really do like the idea of getting rid of the circle auras in favor of raising to 120. Like, the auras that you need is, I mean, what was I doing recently? Oh, been doing a good amount of Nakatra, and just like after the hour of maniacal, it's like you either have to reset it or your crit chance or your hit chance goes way down.
Look at that. Yeah.
And it's just not worth doing it. It's not worth doing it unless you have maniacal up. So that'll be nice once it hits 120 and you don't need to worry about the aura and you can just like go in there. And I don't necessarily know if they're planning on just giving rid all auras or just those ones to begin with. But like, it'd be nice to be able to walk in there and like, oh, I have Vamp aura available. I'll take some free heals and
yeah.
Like,
I think part of the integrity push is to see auras go away and be integrated into other aspects of gameplay. I think that's something
fine.
that they're looking at.
And like, realistically, would it be silly busted if you basically get the maniacal buff at 120 magic?
No.
But you can still get vampirism. Like, it's probably a little overpowered. Not enough to, but like, I understand again, it's the same idea though, that once you run out of vampirism, then you have to switch to something else. And yeah.
Penance.
Yeah. There would be enough that are still around that you can get usage and
Aegis
cycle through. Yeah, like there's enough, but so I think if they just started getting rid of the Zerk auras, it would be good, but I'm open to all.
Yeah. Okay. Any other final thoughts on the beta here? About where it is, what we hope from it?
On the whole, I like that they're giving the goal. I like the idea of the goal of giving each style an identity, and like I think I'm okay with there being some amount of people who feel burnt out about, their favorite combat style is now doing something different, for the sake of like any new players that start saying, hey, like this range thing feels really good, or I like the way that melee plays, and then getting to endgame and it's still playing the same way. Because I think most of like Bolg especially, like you do not play range the same way before and after you get that weapon. Same thing with the staff, the fractured staff. Like,
yeah.
the
and
gameplay
even
changes at endgame.
And even when it comes to melee with the Zuck sword, how we were talking, during leagues,
Those
that,
mythical weapons.
you don't need to go for the full, 6 switches for it. Basically a Zuck sword, a pair of cold cuts, and a dragon long spec or claw spec, and you're good to go with melee.
Well, and again, I'm happy with, like, if they made the identity of the style, like, go through all of that. Like, and obviously Bolg works with this kind of, and like, you'd now have more small hits, but I like the idea that they are giving the combat styles a simplification down to an identity. I think that's great. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they take feedback from this beta and where the balance ends up.
That's a very good
for
point.
everything.
Where's the balance going to end up?
And seeing what they do with other styles.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Good.
Optimistic early on.
Anything else from you, Bears?
Nope, we got it all.
All right, sounds good. And, if anything, I feel like this is just a good time period for vibes-based beta testing. Because that's what it felt like. Like, I didn't care about the numbers.
Well,
and I'll care about the numbers as we
job.
get closer, but it's just vibes now.
Like, when they release feedback for the summer game health update, when they're like doing all this prep work for like removing treasure hunt, where they're giving us warnings in advance. They're saying, hi, this is a thing we're planning to doing. Take a look at it, try it out, and see what you think. Like, they're doing that with this too. They're warming us up to the idea of, and that may be why the beta is so strong right now, frankly, is like they just wanted to feel good. And like they're warming us up to the idea that, like, hey, these things are coming. Be optimistic about it.
Yeah, and you got to have the buy-in for it, right? Like, if it didn't feel good to somebody who had your billions of GP invested in it, Bears, what would be the point, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the change is scary, so we're gonna warn you about the change and get your input and like make you buy into the change in advance. Is I guess what I'm saying, and like they've been doing an excellent job of that across the entire last year, and this, I think, is another example of it.
I was
Good
looking
work.
back in the archives from 2012 when EOC happened.
Ooh.
You want to know what our EOC
That was a
episode
shit job.
title was?
The crazy motherfuckers actually did it.
No. Oh God, it's different. You have one guess to who said that.
Earth?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because, people were saying how different it was, but at the same time, we didn't have as thorough of a beta as we did for this or any of the other things. And it bit them in the butt. And, this is probably EOC 2.0, because EOC 1.0 was that, and Necromancy did EOC or that.
Speak not the name of the evil, Shane.
I was going to argue Necromancy was EOC 2.0. Just like that brought in the new style that now Range is going to copy. But
now we're Necromancification it all, and EOC 2.0 is coming for all of your favorite styles. Everybody run and hide and riot, and Falador's calling for you.
I mean, it can't be that bad, right? Today.
Oh, you knock on wood. It shouldn't be that bad.
We
have had
a great streak from like September. Yes. At this point,
the devs have earned our trust in terms of how they have gone about and how they have like prepped everything, and the content they have released to us and the balance they have given to it has been frankly fantastic. They have earned my trust. I am excited to see where this goes.
All right, Bears. Let's go through some achievements since Daxi doesn't have show notes here.
Let's do it.
I can't see a thing.
Starting off on January 6th, we have Jade Gizmo with 200 million prayer. On the 6th as well, we have Shantae You Stay with 99 necromancy. On the 5th, we have Miss Whipped with 120 archaeology and Warrock with 120 ranged. Then on the 4th, we have XOX, Scotty XOX with 200 mil divination. On the 3rd, we have Stinky Pete, 22 with 120 thieving. Blue Hubbard with 120 herblore. On the 2nd, Code Forge with 120 thieving on the 2nd as well. And Godin with 200 mil firemaking on the 2nd. Nicely done. Then on the 1st, we have Blue Hubbard with a suite of 99s, including dungeoneering, thieving, farming, woodcutting, firemaking, fishing, hunter, archaeology, and slayer. Also, Donna with 99 necromancy on the 1st. Then, on the last day of 2025, Blue Hubbard again with 99 construction, smithing, runecrafting, mining, divination, and agility. Then Rhino with 200 million constitution. Stinky Pete 22 with 99 woodcutting, archaeology, and dungeoneering on the 31st. Questcaping back on the boards with 99 attack. Them Gains with 200 mil strength on the 29th. And Bears, you got 200 mil summoning for 5.8 total on the 28th. Nicely done.
Ooh,
Thank you.
Yeah,
that
it's
was-
all 200
that was a
mils
fun
now.
one. Yeah, I had the tough question of what do I do for my daily challenges now.
What do you do in total on RS now?
Well, it's going to be combat. I still have my group Iron Man that I play. So I really only play the main now if I'm going to do combat, which has been more frequent. But yeah, that was kind of exciting. I, believe it or not, finished up summoning on mobile, which
Oh,
was
yeah, you
weird.
were telling about this in pre-show.
Yeah, I was watching Bears football game, and I'd run from the bank to the obelisk, hit the button, hit the make pouches, look up, watch the play of football, and then in between plays, there's about 30 seconds, which is enough time to run to the bank, run back, watch another play. It worked out really well. So I never would have thought I'd finish summoning on mobile to
Ooh.
get it.
Spirit Weaver?
Nope, was not doing that.
That was the
Just-
question I asked, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't even think about it. I was just going.
You were just AFK during the plays. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. It was nice. So yeah, it's interesting. I still am doing 9 pouches a day just for my daily challenge because that's super easy. Load presets, teleport using the outfit, and then make pouches. But yeah, we can continue on with the other achievements now. So on the 28th still, Chimney Lax with 120 Invention, Darth Marth with 99 Necromancy, Ormini with 99 Runecrafting, XOX Scotty XOX 200 mil Prayer on the 28th, Shantae You Stay with 99 Summoning on the 27th, Warrock with 120 Defense on the 27th, Chimney Lax again with 120 Archaeology on the 26th, Iron Vis 99 Farming on the 26th, Pugnacious 99 Fletching on the 26th, Rhino 120 Strength on the 26th, Shantae You Stay 99 Farming on the 26th. On to the 25th we go with Champ K Mac with 120 Thieving, Miss Whipped with 200 mil Thieving, Worst Case 99 Divination on the 25th. Moving on to the 24th, we have Warrock with 120 Magic. All right, next up, we got the 21st with Kenj Worth, 120 Necromancy, Mage Quest with 200 mil Thieving, Pugnacious with 99 Firemaking, I Like Slayer, 120 Herb on the 20th. And then we got Juan Prue on the 20th. We got 120 Runecrafting, Thieving, Firemaking, Cooking, Fletching, Attack, Strength, Mining, Smithing, Woodcutting, Summoning, Agility, Prayer, Construction, Fishing, and Necromancy. It's a big day. Adani with 200 mil Firemaking on the 19th. Miss Whipped, 120 Slayer. Pony Picker, 200 mil Defense, all on the 19th. Miss Whip with 120 Invention on the 18th. Miss Whipped with 120 Thieving on the 17th. Stinky Pete 22 with 99 Farming and 99 Fletching on the 17th as well.
And I'll give you a break, and I'll
Congratulations.
pick us up on our other achievements. We have Juan Peru with the Unorthodox at Zamorak, which is 750% on January 5th. Bladecom completed the heist log and got Gloomfire Bow on the 29th. Ridgeway got the Parasitic Orb, which is the Ripper Demon Pet, on December 22nd. And Juan Peru did Wrath of Chaos, 500% Zamorak on the 20th. So obviously some Zamorak learning going on there. Nicely
I'm glad
done,
you
everyone.
put in Ripper Demon Pet for that. I had no idea.
Yeah,
what that
I had no
was.
idea what it was. I had to look it up.
Congratulations, guys.
yeah, I had to look it up. But well done. Good to have that back. But what do we got for pick of the week, Bears?
Yeah. So it's a game that was on sale for Steam this past week, called It Takes Two. My wife and I were kind of looking at a new game to play together. We've played City Skylines together, and we've played Overcooked together. City Skylines is a single player game, but we kind of feed ideas into each other. This is actually a 2-player game where you have to work together. We've only played like an hour and a half, but I like it. My wife is nodding and saying she likes it as well, so that's good. But the idea is, just from the quick story that I've gotten, is parents are going through a divorce, and the kid has these 2 dolls that are the parents, and basically the parents turn into the dolls, and they have to start working together to become human again, or at least I assume. So it's a lot of fun. Like, it is a lot of, you need player A to be in the right spot and do the right thing for player B to advance, and then once player B gets to that point, then they have to do something else so player A can get there too. So it's not just like I am a better video game player than my wife, so it's not like I can just get there and do everything. She actually does get to participate.
A lot of puzzle game.
Yeah, it's amazing. I look forward to playing it more.
Let's divorce the video game. God bless.
Yeah.
And in many ways, it's kind of like we were saying, like an inverse to Overcooked, because you can. One of them is collaborative, and the other one, is anti-collaborative in that same sort of way.
Yep. So we also got Overcooked the same day. We've played both about an hour and a half, and like our stress levels were the exact top. So like we finished It Takes Two for an hour and a half, and we're like, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like, we feel relaxed. We played Overcooked for an hour, and we're like, no, I'm going to bed, not talking to you. Like, little over exaggeration, but like not. It was stressful. Not. Yeah. It's like, no, get out of the way. I'm gonna cut the shrimp. You go do the dishes or something. I don't care. Yep. This is not like that at all. We did
Overcooked a number of years ago for a Clan Quest event, and I said some rather unfortunate things about some of the items. I'll leave that as an exercise to the listeners to guess what that might have been about. But
in the comments, please.
Yeah, or in the Discord somewhere like that. But
yes, please.
It's still on sale, 80% off right now on Steam. If you wanted to pick this up, normally it's on sale 55 Canadian. Now it's on sale for 11. I don't know what that is in US. I'm guessing 50 US.
So it's usually 40. It's on sale for 8 right now, and okay. I didn't realize the sale got extended because when I bought it, it said ends January 4th. So, and
this goes till the 12th now. So unlike the last sales we talked about, people will actually be able to benefit from this. So that's on Steam, and it's linked in the show notes over at update.show. But that pretty much brings us to the end here. Either of you have anything else here before we go?
No. Happy New Year to all the listeners. Hope you enjoy the first show
to be back. I don't know what's happening next week.
Hour is estimated to be back on in 10 to 20 minutes. So
we'll see if it actually. What timing would that be if it comes back at the exact time we end? I was going to say we don't know what's happening.
It'll be post-show, and it'll be a clip in a clip show for next year.
We don't know what's happening next week. But the week after is the Treasure Hunter removal. And the RS ahead.
Oof.
And the Integrity roadmap.
I'm excited for the roadmap.
Yeah, at the same time, it's almost kind of scary, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I cannot wait to see what they're proposing.
But we'll be here for that. We'll be here through 2026. So good to be back. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful holiday period and is having a happy new year so far. Bear, it's always good having you on the show talking about combat and ranged. Whenever I need someone to talk about ranged, I know exactly where to go.
Good. I love being on the show. It's a lot of fun.
Excellent. And Thaxi, only by voice this time, but good having you back on in the new year and getting to do some numerical combat thingamadooies.
Woo! Yay, these are a few of my favorite things.
And we'll, of course, be back before the beta goes live in the game to see what the final numbers look like, and we'll check back in on all the numbers on that. But like we said, mostly based on vibes this time. So if you want to follow us on that journey whenever that arrives, or when the treasure hunter removal happens, update.show/subscribe. We're on all the major podcast listening services out there: Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Spotify, and more, and also YouTube at youtube.com/RSBANB, where the video versions of the show are posted with face cams now. If you're an audio listener and you want to see that, youtube.com/RSBANB. Give a like and subscribe. Greatly helps the channel out. But with that being said, we'll be back next week for another episode of RSBANB Update. See you then, everyone. Take care.
See ya.
Ciao.